Oh, it's been told time and time again that mining is a sunset industry. Is that still true? Recent developments, though, could be suggesting otherwise. Let me give you a very good example. Remember this name, Copper 360 Limited. It's Africa's newest copper producer, doing so well, in fact, they're listing on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, being billed as a major future growth industry. And of course, I imagine, which we'll talk about, the potential to create a lot more jobs. The company itself says they aim to create a new copper country. How are they going to get that right? Well, let's find out. And as I speak to Copper 360 Chair Shirley Hayes this morning. Shirley, hello, good to have you on eNCA. I suppose, first of all, congratulations getting onto the JSE. It's quite a feather in the copper cap, if you will. I want to talk jobs for a second, though, because when it comes to anything commodities-wise, the first thing anyone's going to ask is, where are the jobs going to come from? Good morning. Congratulations.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's been a very, very nice experience. It's been a handful of days since the listing of Copper 360, and the share price seems to be trading very well. Although not significant volumes, however, this is not a surprise to us. If we look at the fundamentals of the company, we are in production. We have significant growth at very low cost, capital cost. We are one of the lower cost producers in terms of the cost quartile curve, and also we offer the only copper exposure on the market, so it's not a surprise to us.
Economy-wise, when we start talking about copper, we always talk about diamonds. We talk about gold and the impact that has on the global markets and the impact that has on the economy. Help me and those of us who don't follow copper closely. Where does it fit into the greater economy? Is this something that we're going to see jumping up and bumping up our GDP?
You could say it's the beginning of a new copper age for South Africa, and not only for South Africa. It's a new age of copper for the world. The world is in an energy crisis, and we are all at the brink of electrical revolution that will basically build on the legacy of the Industrial Revolution while addressing the negative impact of the environmental impact of the Industrial Revolution. So when we zoom into South Africa, if we want to be competitive and if we want to resolve unemployment, we need infrastructure. And with Eskom, we need renewables. So copper will certainly be a strategic advantage to South Africa because it will mean the costs will be low if we can source it in the country as opposed to importing it from abroad.
There's a lot of money. There's a big pie here, isn't there? If I take a look at the numbers for 2022, and you can obviously speak more specifically, but if I have this right, and correct me if I don't have it right, Shirley, the market for copper exceeding 1 trillion rand in 2022. So how big a piece of that pie do you think we have in this country that we can actually turn into money and jobs?
It's a tiny piece. It's very, very tiny. The thing is, copper production is falling worldwide. And copper demand is, just in terms, as you said, in terms of electrical vehicles, it's growing to 42 million tons. And copper production will be 12 million tons only. So there's a 30 million ton deficit at the infrastructure development for copper, at the renewable demand for copper. We have copper as a scarce commodity. It will definitely impact the copper price. It'll be very, very good for South Africa in terms of infrastructure, in terms of renewable, in terms of addressing poverty, job creation. So it is, and I think the Northern Cape will be the next metal province of South Africa. And it's going to be the area where we'll see major development. The government is looking at developing a new port. We have the likes of Ndanta that might build a smelter. So it's going to be the new economic center of South Africa.
I've heard the province of the Northern Cape being touted around for a couple of years now as well. So when we then look at where we fit into, as I mentioned, the pie earlier, that was from the financial side. There's over 1 trillion that's available, it seems, in this pie. When it comes to getting our copper from South Africa back into South African hands or perhaps into overseas markets, what's the focus for your company? Where should that focus be? Because we know the debate's going to happen, Shirley. I'm sure you and I will speak again in a few years' time when people are being accused of sending copper overseas, that we're just re-importing back, and we shouldn't be doing that. So where does your company land on copper in our country? You say it's a copper country, but is it going to stay here?
It's going to stay here. First, we are South African, and we're proudly South African. We are a South African mining company. We are a South African copper mining company in South Africa for the benefit of South Africa. Now, the copper price is the same all over, whether it's in South Africa, whether it's in Europe. That will remain absolutely the same. But we're very passionate about South Africa and the future of South Africa. And I think having copper as a commodity that produce copper will put South Africa at a strategic platform in the world. So we are South African for South Africa.
I want to get a sense of the company before I say goodbye to you, Shirley. So Copper 360 Limited. Where did this come from? Where did the idea start? I mean, copper is obviously not a new commodity. It's been around for a long time. Why did the company decide to move into this space and then go as far as getting listed on the JSE? Just give me the background quickly.
Well, we obviously, with the listing, are giving a lot of information to the market about our growth. We are in production. We're going to build up, and it looks like a quick growth over a short period of time, but it has taken 14 years for us to get here. We've been working very, very hard, very quietly. I started the exploration and consolidation in the area in 2009, and it's years of hard work to get to this point. So here we are already in production, and now we're ramping up our current production from 50 tons a month to 150 tons by the end of the year. We're building a super process facility that will come online by the end of the year, and that will increase our production to 650 tons a month, which calculates to 8,000 tons on an annual basis.
It's an awful amount of growth, and I wish you all the best. I want to ask this perhaps just as my very last question. The moment we mention copper, we all know just how easily it's being stolen at the moment in our country. How worried are you about security around a copper mine, around copper production? Because right now we're hearing that cables are being stolen because it has copper in it. We know that we have catalytic converters from cars being stolen because it has copper in it. Should we be worried as a country that we're now seeing this jump in copper production? Are we going to see crime syndicates? How worried are you about security?
You have to look at security. It's the same as the gold companies. Although copper is much more difficult to utilize. You know, if you steal the rock, it's not like gold where you can actually go and sell the gold. The concentrate is difficult to steal because it needs processing. But we do produce copper plates, and that can be stolen. So we do have security, the in and out. And as far as road security, the copper buyers, they supply their own security when they buy at gate. But we are worried, and we are addressing that.
I'm sure you would be as well. Shirley, I'm sure this won't be the first time that we speak, and I wish you all the very best to you and the company. Shirley Hayes, the chair of Copper 360 as well, Africa's newest copper producer listing on the JSE here in South Africa. Shirley, thank you very much for your